Today I want to talk to you about something that I am really passionate about, something that I find challenging and really fun, and I'm really excited to share with you. And that is how you use websites to build your wealth. And why I want to talk to you about this is because this is something far beyond what many people think about when they get into web design or digital marketing in some form. But this is really essentially a way that you can build your wealth so long as you are strategic about it. So I'm going to share with you 5 stages of what I call website wealth. Now, you can really simplify this into just 2 stages, but how big and how advanced you want to make this is how big you can decide to go. So I want to break this down so you can see just how to take where you are in the process of building your own business and being able to provide services, and how you can use this as a path for building your own wealth. So let's start off with step number 1, which is a required step, whether you are using 2, 3, or all 5 of the steps that I'm going to be talking about. So the first stage here is to provide a service to a client. Now, this is not a big surprise here, but the reason that we want to do this is because we need a basic foundation. And when we are providing a service to a client, this is going to help us, of course, bring in some income that we're going to need to use in these upcoming stages here. Now, my recommendation is for the service because this is the fastest way, typically out of many other ways, to be able to generate income. So when we're able to take our service that we can provide, be it web design, SEO, copywriting, and any other form of digital marketing, and provide that to a client, that's going to get us some initial income. My recommendation, especially for those entrepreneurs who are new, so if you're newer in business, is to provide one service to one type of client. Why? Because that's, again, the fastest way to do this. We want to get the fastest income possible. And then this is also going to help us in some upcoming steps. So step number 2, which is one of the optional steps, is to outsource the work. So you are now providing one service to one type of client. That means you're getting really good at that service. You are able to get really good results. And that means you're able to put a process behind it that you are now able to hand off to someone else to do some or all of the work for you. Now, the reason that I like this step, so if you're thinking about just skipping this step, hear me out here. The reason why I like this step is because this allows you to focus on the bigger picture. So when we are wanting to provide our service to a particular client, we like to provide the service ourselves, even if we don't really like all the work, because we feel like that just keeps more money in our pocket, right? But when we have a bigger picture that I'm sharing with you today, this helps us make sure that we are really focusing on this big picture. How are we scaling this to the point where we're using our web knowledge here to build our wealth, okay? So this is where we start to outsource at least some of the work. Now, in stage number 3, which is optional, but very helpful, is service stacking. So in the first stage, I talked about one service. This is now where you are looking for additional profitable opportunities. So let's say you offer web design. That's your one service. Now, what other profitable opportunities exist beyond that? Well, we have SEO, copywriting, email marketing, Facebook ads, other paid advertising, Facebook Messenger, messenger bots. There's so many different opportunities that could be very profitable. This doesn't mean you should do them all, but this also can mean that you're providing more of these services to more types of clients. But again, the purpose isn't to go from 1 to 100 here. We want to do this slowly and strategically because we want to make sure that we're getting the results so that we can charge them the higher prices and be able to build that up. So now, as we are building up our services, our income is building, our client numbers are building, and we are managing this all. This should mean at this point that you are not only bringing income in that you need to live, and maybe even a little extra if you want to do some extra things, but that everything else beyond that, you are putting aside to build your wealth. So what this looks like is now in stage number 4, this is where we look at the assets that we can invest in. Now, this can be web related, or it could not. Now, there are a lot of different asset classes that you can get into, and what you get into really depends on the type of investor that you are, and it depends on what stage of life you are at and what your own unique goals are as well. So for instance, if you are getting closer to retirement, whether that's at 40 or at 65, then you want to be more focused on cash flow because that's what you're going to need to live in retirement. However, if you are not close to retirement, then your goal is typically wanting to build your net worth, right? So when you are building your net worth or you are working on building up cash flow, you are looking at different asset classes. So for instance, you can invest in real estate either for cash flow or invest in real estate specifically for your net worth. Or you could do a combination really of the two there. Now, you can also invest in the stock market. There are a lot of different ways to make money in the stock market. And you can also invest in what I like to call online real estate or web assets. And this is where you are looking to either build or acquire profitable income producing websites. These are the websites that are on a variety of topics and a variety of industries. And the purpose is for you to be able to provide value there and to be able to produce income. But just like with regular real estate in the housing market, online real estate can be used to either build your net worth or produce cash flow, or the combination of the two. Let's take, for instance, an online business that you purchase. And this website is mostly hands-off. You can have someone part-time who runs this for you, and it likely already is set in place if you are buying a website. Now, let's say this website cost $20,000 or $50,000 or $200,000. There's all types of businesses out there. But that business, your focus isn't really on the growth of that business, but that business produces very good, consistent month after month income for you. So that is a cash flow business for you. Now let's take a look at another example where we have a business that again costs $20,000, $40,000, $200,000. But when you look at that website, at that online business, you know that you're going to be able to grow that by using the knowledge and experience that you have, whether this is SEO skills or conversion rate optimization, and that you're going to be able to improve that website, and that is going to increase the revenue. But what happens when you increase the revenue is that you increase the worth of that business. So let's say you purchased a business for $20,000. Now that business is going to be worth maybe $40,000 depending upon the increase in revenue. Or if you have a $100,000 business and you've now made it worth $200,000, not only can you resell that business and now you have doubled your money, you have also collected all of that monthly revenue in the meantime. So this is a great way, especially as you're building up these skills, and you can use the skills that you're using for your clients' businesses in businesses like this as well. And again, you're able to outsource a lot of this work. So in the web assets that I own, I don't run those. I don't have the time to do the day-to-day operations. Rather, my goal is let me look at the growth strategy. What is it that I can do that is going to grow this business? And I draft out that plan and I figure out who is going to do what part of the plan, and I pass that off. And then they have to check in with me to let me know what's been done, and I check the results and we go from there. So I have very, very little hands-on operations in doing that every single week because I don't have the time. I'm over here in my business or looking at other assets. Now, in step number 5, this is one of the optional ones. So step 1, one service to one client, and stage number 4 being invest in assets. Those are the required stages. Stage number 5 is to build a team. So this is, again, a great way for you to be able to stay high level, focusing in on the results that you can get for services, increasing your prices, growing your business, building up more leads, focusing in on your investments and how that you can go about increasing those. And the goal of you building a team is for you to be able to be more hands-off on the tasks that really aren't going to directly contribute to you growing your wealth. So that is where we start with building a team. Now, the most basic of building a team is getting an assistant. So we've all heard of virtual assistants, and that is an excellent place to start, and it can be done very, very inexpensively. And if you don't think that you need one right now, you can hire one anyway. I guarantee you, you're going to be able to come up with some stuff for him or her to be able to do. But this takes away all those time-consuming things that we don't necessarily feel are time-consuming, but they don't produce any revenue. They don't build any momentum for us. We have to be thinking big here and making sure that we are focusing on our end goal. So these are the 5 stages of building your website wealth. At a minimum, you need to be providing one service to one type of client, and then reinvesting any extra cash flow that comes from that into your investment choices. And this is going to allow not only your business to be growing, but your assets are going to be growing at the same time. From there, you're going to be making sure that you are growing your service-based business so that you can continually funnel that extra money into your assets, and you can explore whether this is real estate in the traditional housing market, your online real estate and web assets, the stock market, and different asset classes there. But this really creates a fun challenge, and it gives you something bigger to be able to work for. And that way you also feel like all your hard work is going into something. And it really gives you just an extra added motivation. It certainly does for me, to be able to sit down and work on something, to maybe make a phone call that you don't necessarily want to, or you are fearful of, or to do a task that's really going to push you to that next level. It gives you that extra motivation, that extra push to go ahead and do that. If you want more information about web assets, go on over to portableentrepreneur.com/assets. I'm putting together a little bit of information just about how I put some of my web assets together, how I grow them, just to give you some general information there. Send you an occasional email about that. And from time to time, when there are web assets that are already income producing, and those are not a match for my direct portfolio, but they are still wonderful assets, I may be passing some of those along in case you would be interested as well. So I hope you like this. I hope this was helpful and really just got you thinking. I hope this is something that excites you too. This is something I'm really passionate about, and it really excites me to talk about. I could talk about it all day long. But if you have any questions or anything that you would like to hear more about in terms of this, please do drop a comment down below. I'll get back to you there. And if there's anything else you'd like to hear, I'll do my best to provide that for you as well. All right, take care, and I'll see you next time.